Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Beanie, and welcome back to another Diamond Dynasty update video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Signature Series and what they talked about yesterday in the Diamond Dynasty stream about the Signature Series, and what exactly is it? What is it going to entail? How is it different from Immortals from last year? Because it definitely is different in all the right ways. And then we're also going to take a look at 5 different Signature Series cards that they revealed in the Diamond Dynasty stream. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be at the end of the video. But anyways, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it, guys. Okay, now a lot of people may be asking, what is the Signature Series? Is it just like the Rookie series? Is it like the Postseason Series or the Impact Veteran, you know, where there are some really good cards and some terrible cards? No, it's definitely not like that. It's definitely more akin to Immortals from last year, but there are a few differences that really matter. Firstly, the Signature Series is basically, when you boil it down to its bare roots, it's basically just the best card of any player in the game. Well, not any player in the game, because I would assume that every single player in MLB The Show isn't going to have a Signature Series card, but a lot of the flashbacks and legends and like maybe really good players of today will have a signature card, probably. So it's just the best version of that card. Now, one thing that does kind of concern me about this is that it might render all the other series and live series cards and all that, it may render them completely useless by, you know, by May if they come out with a lot of Signature Series early. But I don't really think that that's going to be that big of a problem, for a reason that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But it is something that maybe you should like think about whenever you're, you know, planning on getting into Diamond Dynasty. It's like, well, is the Signature Series, is it going to kind of saturate the Diamond market? And is it going to be, I don't know. I'm just saying it's something that kind of concerns me. And also, are all of these cards 99 overall if it's the best version of that card? And the answer to that is no. Not all of them are 99 overall. All the ones that I've seen so far have been 99 overall, but they definitely said in the stream that there will be some that are lower than a 99 overall. I can't imagine any or many of the cards going under like 96, maybe. That might be like the floor for how these cards are rated. So yeah. Okay, and how are these cards rated? These cards are rated based... last year, first, before I explain the Signature, I have to kind of explain the Immortals, because this is really the series that's replacing the Immortals series. Last year, the Immortals were rated based off of their career best at each individual statistic, and then that was put into their attributes. So if Babe Ruth had, like, over the course of his career, if he averaged, you know, 40 home runs or whatever, but he had one season where he hit 60, then all his other seasons wouldn't matter, and the season where he hit 60 would matter, and that would be what went into his power attribute, if you get what I'm saying. And if he had one season where he hit, like, 200 and another season where he hit 375, that 200 season doesn't even matter, because the best season he ever had was 375, and that's going to go into his contact rating. Do you get what I'm saying? The Signature Series is going to be a little bit different. For the Signature Series, it's going to be that your career average is your floor. So basically, wherever you like over the course of your career, let's say you were like a 270 hitter or something like that. I don't know exactly what that translates to. Probably like, I don't know, 65 to 70 contact maybe. But that's going to be like where you bottom out, as far down as you can go in the attributes. You know, they're not going to make you go down any further than that just because you had one season where you hit 200. They're not going to cherry pick that out of your stat line and use that against you. So it's going to be your career averages are where you bottom out. Now, where you can get the highest ratings is their prime years, their best years. So, you know, it's probably going to be like a 3 or 4 year window where they were really, you know, kind of killing it. That's going to be averaged out, and that's going to be where your attributes probably ultimately end up. So So yeah, that's kind of how they do the signature series ratings. They're not going to cherry pick any stats. It's all going to be based off of career averages and the averages that you had while you were in your prime. So you should get much more accurate representations of what a player is, or what a player was, than you got in the Immortals series, where everybody was just like a 125 everything, and it wasn't any fun. There wasn't any diversity. So I definitely like this approach a lot better. So yeah, so long Immortals, farewell. I will not miss them, I promise. Okay, secondary positions are going to work a little bit different for your signature series players. For a player to get a position as their secondary, they have to have had, at some point in their career, they have to have had at least one full season of playing in a certain spot. The example they used was Chipper Jones. Even though Chipper had played a little bit of shortstop in his career, he never played a full season there. Last year, he would have been given shortstop as a secondary. This year, he'll only have third base and left field, because those are the only two positions where he had a full season of work. So this is, I guess this is just to kind of cut down on the amount of like super utility Immortals that are out there, because whenever you have a guy that's as good as Chipper and then you give him a ton of premium positions to play at, it's kind of OP, you know, so you kind of want to limit guys as much as you can. And this also helps build lineup diversity, because, you know, when you have a guy that can play anywhere, you're often enough, you're going to see guys just plug them into their lineup and just play them at one of their secondary positions just to get their bat into the lineup. So you end up starting to see everybody do that, and the lineups all start to kind of look the same. I know I loved that Johnny Bench card from last year, because he could play like anywhere. He could catch, he could play third, first, anywhere in the outfield. I mean, he was like a super utility guy, and I love that card. But you know, was it really all that realistic that like Johnny Bench could, like, I don't know if he could play second, but like he probably could. I don't know. He had so many different secondary positions. But anyways, yes, I think this is a positive change. I know it might feel kind of restrictive to some people, but ultimately, you know, you can't have just like freedom across the board in any game and it still end up being something that's enjoyable. They have to kind of constrict you a little bit, you know, for whatever reason. And that's what they're doing here, and that's fine. I like it. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, so how are you going to earn signature series cards? Well, from what I understand, they are going to be everywhere. There are going to be a ton of signature series cards in the game, and you're going to be able to earn them through a variety of different avenues. You can get them through the XP reward path. You can get them through featured programs. You can get them through BR, through ranked seasons. Probably even through events. I would guess, you know, they may have some sort of event where you can get them. You know, maybe, I know they don't have a ticket counter anymore, so maybe, well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I think the XP reward path replaced like the ticket counter or whatever. But anyways, yeah, basically any of the main areas of Diamond Dynasty, you're going to be able to earn some of those guys. Maybe even Conquest will have some sort of thing where you can earn a signature series card. But yeah, they're going to be everywhere. So anybody that's you know, sweating, being like, oh God, do I have to play online to get these cards? Well, some of them maybe you do, or well, you do to at least a little bit, but a lot of them, or even most of them, you can get them through a variety of different means, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Okay, now this is the thing that I'm most excited about with Signature Series, because last year the Immortals, everybody just had a lineup. Everybody had like the Chipper Jones in their lineup. Everybody had Jackie Robinson on their bench or in their lineup. Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Stan Musial. It was all like, it was so boring by the end of the year last year. It was just mind-numbing. Everybody had that Mike Trout, the immortal Mike Trout. Like, it wasn't any fun facing the same team over and over and over again. So one of the things they wanted to address this year was lineup diversity. And really the only way that they saw to do that and still keep really good players in the game was to do something sort of akin to Immortals, but open it up to where basically, you know, if you were just a decently good player, you'll have a signature card. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it still is kind of exclusive, but there should be at least, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of signature series cards. In fact, I think they said that there were, you know, maybe even a dozen at each position, maybe even more than that. But the point being is that we are going to have enough signature series cards where we should see more lineup diversity this year than we've ever seen in the past, which is great because I you know, usually everyone can figure out the meta by you know, June or July, and they'll all start to pick cards accordingly. But if they really have fixed it to where contact hitters are really viable now, and if they have made it to where there are a ton of signature series cards, I don't ever plan on running into a guy that has a lineup that's almost exactly like mine. You know, I hope I never run into that this year, and it looks like that they have largely fixed that problem. There may still be a few issues looming here and there, like maybe a breakout series player or a rookie series player or something like that isn't going to have as much value now. But for the most part, I think that it's going to be a good thing. Okay, and what won't you see with the signature series? And that is, you won't see any ridiculous grinds that make you hit like 500 home runs or get 200 saves or anything like that. It's all going to be kind of streamlined to where you can just have fun playing the game and earn all the stuff that you need to get a signature series card, which is great. You also aren't going to have any absurd moments where you have to, you know, I don't know, like you have to hit like 4 home runs in a row, or like get 3 men on base and hit a grand slam and do that twice in a row without getting an out or anything crazy like that. You know, that'd be basically impossible for someone to do. Not going to be anything like that. And then also there aren't going to be any like exchanges that lock you out from getting any signature cards. Like all of them should be earnable through some sort of means without having to pay a lot of money anyway. So all 3 of those things, good things. I'm excited about it. They're going to be open to everyone. You just have to be willing to put in a little bit of time and a little bit of work, but probably not nearly as much as last year. I don't know. Do you guys remember this past year? I mean, when you were trying to do like any of the pitchers, you had to get so many strikeouts and pitch so many innings, and you couldn't pick your pitcher whenever you were going into a game to grind. It was the most miserable experience ever that in the end, I just said, fuck it. The only immortal pitcher I ended up having was Bob Feller, and that was because you got him like through some program or something. I just couldn't do it, man. I love Tom Seaver, I love Nolan Ryan, and I love Bob Gibson, but not that much. But anyways, I guess that is basically it for the signature series. Let's go ahead and take a look at 5 examples of signature cards that were revealed yesterday, and I'll let you know what I think about them. Okay, hopefully you can see that behind me, but the first guy that we have is the 99 overall Duke Snider signature series card. And if you look at it, it kind of looks a little similar to his career arc version from last year, but it's just upgraded in almost every way. You know, I think it's a little bit faster. I think it hits righties a little bit better. I think against lefties, it actually might be about the same or maybe a little worse, but he has better vision, better discipline. I think his fielding is maybe a tick better. So yeah. Really good card overall. Kind of a, you know, I don't know how many like guys we're gonna have that are gonna be, you know, 100 plus versus lefties. So maybe you want to platoon this guy, but I don't think it's necessary. He has 93 contact versus lefties, 83 power. I think that that's viable enough to roll with him in your lineup. But against righties, the dude's going to be a monster with 115, 110, and 117 vision, or 108 vision. I'm sorry. So yeah, he's a great card. Really sexy. I don't think he's the best hitter in this series though. In fact, my pick for the best signature series card that we've seen so far is probably going to surprise you. Yes, this is my pick for the best of all the signature series cards that we got to see. It's the 99 Joe Morgan, and it kind of surprised myself because usually I don't like short stature players because it's really hard to hit with them and their PCI and everything. Hopefully that might not be that big of an issue next year. But the thing that I just really love about this player is that he's got amazing contact and vision. First off, he's going to have an enormous PCI. He's got a lot of power to back it up, 85, 72. I think that's going to be plenty this year. If you're pretty good with your PCI and can square up balls, 85 power is really going to be all you need. He's a great fielder. He plays second base, so he doesn't need like a cannon of an arm, and he has a perfectly adequate arm for second base, and the dude can fly. This is the true separator for me, the fact that he is just so damn fast. And has a little bit of power and can play. He's a true 5-tool guy. So yeah, so far out of all the guys that I've seen, Joe Morgan is the card that I would like to have the most. But Tony Gwynn isn't that bad either. This Tony Gwynn card, it's incredibly balanced as a hitter. He's maxed out contact and vision, which is definitely well-deserved. He's probably one of the best contact hitters of all time. He was elite defensively, and he also has great speed and great stealing. The only thing about this card that makes me feel that the Joe Morgan exceeds him just a little bit is the fact that the Morgan has more power. And, you know, that may be me misreading the meta, though, because last year, if you had a card like this, you wouldn't even really consider this card because he didn't have enough power. And with them fixing that this year, and with power or with contact being more important, contact hitters rather being more important, maybe the meta is going to shift away from power hitters. And if that happens, maybe I'll need to revisit this and say, you know what? That Gwynn card was pretty freaking good, and I think I would have rather had him than anyone else because he still has basically all the speed that Joe Morgan does. He has a better arm. He plays in the outfield. He's a really good defender, and he has way better contact. So am I really going to sell him out for a few points of power? I don't know. That's the fun thing about jumping into an MLB The Show game is you never know where the meta is going to land. So it'll be exciting this year to see where it does end up kind of settling in. Next up, we have probably the best defensive player in the game, depending on what they do with Andrelton Simmons. Oh boy, can you imagine having a signature series Andrelton Simmons? Oh my God, that defense would be out of this world. And he'd actually probably have pretty good power too, because he had 1 year in Atlanta where he hit like 18 home runs or something. I don't remember exactly how many, but he had some pop. But anyway, Brooks Robinson, 99 overall, obviously, 99 or 97 across the board with his fielding. Not super fast, but he's a third baseman, not that big of a deal. Got a little bit of pop, 78, 79, pretty solid. Got amazing vision. Wow, his 125 vision, your PCI is going to be enormous. And pretty solid contact to go along with it. So overall, a 4-tool player. He doesn't have the speed, but he is excellent at 3 of those 4 tools and really, really good at the 4th tool, which is his power. So a pretty interesting card. I like it, but Brooks Robinson cards have always kind of been wonky to me. I've never really been able to hit with them. So I'm going to be a little leery of this card at first, but maybe I can pick it up in BR and he does really well for me, and I'll end up changing my mind. And then finally, the card that probably most people are going to go with, the 99 overall Frank Thomas. This card is a monster. at the plate. He looks, he reminds me a lot of his career arc version from last year, except he's even better. 111, 107 power versus righties, and then 125, 125 perfect versus lefties. 100 plus vision, 100 plus everything hitting. And then defensively, he's pretty awful, but he plays first base, so it shouldn't really matter that much. He's not that fast or anything, so he's just a big slugger. And I think most people are going to be operating off the meta from last year, and they're, you know, whenever they have a chance to pick up this guy, they're gonna go with him initially. So yeah, but I think that it might end up being a mistake, because I think you might get better value with like Joe Morgan or maybe Tony Gwynn, because of how the meta is going to change. But anyways, how do you get all these cards? No pitchers, by the way. That was kind of surprising that we didn't see any pitchers. But the way that you get these cards is through the XP reward path. Every 100 levels that you level up through the XP, you're gonna have your choice of these cards all the way up to the very end, so you can end up getting all 5 of these guys eventually if you're a legend, and if you really, you know, grind the game all year long. Not all year long, but for a good while. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry, it's kind of early in the morning for me, so I'm kind of rambly, and yeah, I love you guys. I will see you guys later today with another Diamond Dynasty video, but until then, peace.